Welcome everybody back to the channel where today we will be making a tier list of every single Major League Pickleball logo. We will be talking about the good logos and we will be talking about the bad logos. But first, I invite you all to please join me on a trip down memory lane as we remember some of the logos that are no longer with us. Now in 2021, there were only 8 teams and 2 of them didn't even have logos. The standout here to me, of course, is the original Texas Rangers R with a cowboy hat. If by some miracle you haven't heard me mention this yet, my dad is actually one of the founding co-owners of the Texas Rangers franchise, so this logo really just gives me so much nostalgia. Moving into 2022, you might recognize some of these teams, but the logos probably look a little bit different. We get our first look at the New Jersey Fives clown logo, which I have very strong opinions about. We get a first glimpse at what the Heart Eights will become, and the bus would eventually morph into the Columbus Sliders. In 2023, this is when things really start to pop off. We now have 24 franchises, and there are 2 teams on here that never actually even played a match under the logos. The Cabo Vamos and the Valhalla Volleys were actually teams that were just kind of placeholder teams until they were able to finalize the deals to bring the St. Louis Shock and Orlando Squeeze into the mix. And additionally, this is when all teams adopted their geographic names, which, as you can see in my snarky comment right here, are totally real. They're totally real, guys. On to 2024, things should be looking a little bit familiar, but you may notice there are 24 teams listed here, and that's because at the start of the season, after all the merger, madness, PPA, MLP, Tour Wars, the ATX Pickleballers and the Milwaukee Mashers disbanded, so there are still 2 outstanding franchise spots that the league can sell to get back up to 24 teams. And here's a quick chart just to show the continuity of these franchises over time. Not a single one of the original 8 teams from 2021 still have their exact same team name and logo. The Pickle Ranchers became the Ranchers, which became the Texas Ranchers. BLQK became the BLQK Bears, became the California BLQK Bears, and became the California Black Bears eventually. We've even got 3 teams that completely rebranded from 2024 into 2025. More on them later. But first, our final stop on this nostalgia trip, I invite you to join me what I'm calling Dreamland, the ultimate resting place, the graveyard for fallen MLP logos. Now over here on the left side of your screen, you'll see the Arizona Drive took quite a bit of time to figure out what they want to do. They're now the Phoenix Flames, of course. Over here, had to throw a quick shout out to Vibe Pickleball, and just below them we've got several iterations of the Dallas Flash logo. They're rocking some slightly adjusted branding for this 2025 season. We've got the Seattle Pioneers, who became the Carolina Pickleball Club, who are now the Carolina Hogs. And this logo was just debuted by the new team Nashville Chefs just a few weeks ago, and they've already decided to change it. We'll talk about that too. Let's go ahead and get to the good part. Let's do the tier list. But before we do that, please do consider liking this video, subscribing to my channel if you enjoy this type of content. And we've got a quick little sponsored bit. You can use code Basil when you're buying MLP Austin tickets, and you will get a discount applied at checkout. You should get about 15% off. So if you're going to be in town in Austin over Memorial Day weekend and you want to come check out the action at the Austin Pickle Ranch, go ahead and use that code and get some savings. Additionally, at the Austin Pickle Ranch, there will be an amateur PPA style tournament going on alongside the MLP action. So if you want to play in that, go ahead and get registered for that as well. Now, a few quick notes. This is all just my personal opinion, so if you disagree, be sure to let me know in the comments. I will be deducting points if I think you have plagiarized your logo from an existing sports team. Also, if you are using overly done motifs or imagery like crossed pickleball paddles, maybe even, God forbid, somebody eventually does a pickle holding a pickleball, you're going to be docked points for that. Additionally, it's not just about the logo, it's the overall branding. You get bonus points if your team name is somehow tied to your geographic location, and if it somehow ties back to pickleball, that works as well, although it's not required. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and give this wheel a spin and see who we are ranking first. Okay, and right off the rip, we have the Utah Black Diamonds. Now, this logo is pretty simple, just the B and the D with a little diamond kind of connecting the 2 parts of the D there. They've also got this on their Instagram handle, which has the outline of Utah with that diamond kind of representing, I guess, I don't know, is that like Salt Lake City or something? Somebody tell me in the comments what city that is. Black Diamonds definitely ties into Utah as their geographic identity. This was actually a name I saw get floated around when the NHL was relocating the team from Arizona up to Utah. It's a fine logo, but it just doesn't really excite me. To me, this logo is maybe good, but it just doesn't really excite me enough. So we're going to say this is an okay logo. We'll give the wheel another spin, and up next we have, oh boy. Sorry for the jump scare. If you're afraid of clowns, we have the New Jersey Fives. So before we could even talk about what tier this logo belongs in, we have to just talk about why are they the Fives and why are they clowns and why are they in New Jersey? Well, the New Jersey Fives are the Fives because Gary Vee's favorite number was 5. This is what he wore in sports growing up. He has a story where he couldn't afford a jersey and his mother ended up knitting him a New York Jets jersey with the number 5. So that's great, sentimental and all, but it's just, I don't know, kind of a weird name for a sports team to me. No offense to him. The reason they are the clowns is because Gary Vee's NFT project called V Friends has all these characters and the competitive clown, I guess, is one of them. There's really no connection between Fives and clowns to me, so that doesn't really make sense. Also, it's kind of hard to search for this team on like Instagram and socials and the internet. Sometimes they go by the Fives, like the number 5. Sometimes they go by the Fives spelled out. Sometimes they're just the NJ Fives. Then it's just a little confusing to me, and I just don't like it at all. I'm not a clown guy. If you are, I apologize. But this logo for me is a pretty easy decision. This is going to be our first F tier. This is just a terrible logo. I'm sorry. We'll give the wheel another spin here, and now we have the California Black Bears. Now remember, this team was originally BLQK, then they became BLQK Bears, then they became the Black Bears. I think the worst thing about this logo is that the Bears name itself is just kind of generic. I don't know, but I think we can give them a pass because it did tie into their original team, which was BLQK, which is a coffee company, which I guess is maybe just pronounced black. So Black Bears, then the California Black Bears. I mean, it's a fine looking logo. I do like the bear. It almost feels retro to me. This is another one that feels kind of between the okay to good tier for me. So I'm going to just go ahead and put it in the good tier. I do like it more than the Utah Black Diamonds. So this feels okay for now. We might move that one though. Give the wheel another spin and let's see who we get now. We have got the DC Pickleball team. Now, another thing that I haven't talked about yet in my criteria is I'm just not a fan of teams that are pickleball club or pickleball team. It's just kind of boring to me. Where pickleball, maybe we should be having a little bit more fun than this. I do think it was originally a riff off of the Washington football team, which of course is what they were before they became the Commanders. Additionally, this logo does make use of the crossed paddles motif, which I just think is a little bit overdone. They did put their own spin on it with the D and the C letters in the place of the paddle. However, it doesn't do anything to invoke Washington, D.C. So overall, I'm just not a fan of this logo or their branding, their team name. It's not terrible though. It doesn't offend me like the clown does. So I think we're going to say this is just a bad logo. Moving along, we'll give the wheel another spin and So look, as I mentioned earlier in this video, there's a lot of bias for me in this. I'm tempted to just throw it in the S tier because I just love this team. But I'm going to do my best to be objective. Let's go ahead and zoom in and take a closer look. We've got the cowboy hat guy with the star paddle riding a horse. We've got ranchers. We've got a few different colors we can do too here. You'll see also the old logo again, which I already talked about. Big fan of that. It, of course, was tied into the Austin Pickle Ranch. That is where the Pickle Ranchers became the Ranchers, became the Texas Ranchers. And as much as I do love the old logo, I can admit that this new logo is better. It feels more like a professional sports team, whereas the other one maybe is more fun and frivolous. I don't know, but I think the new logo is better. In fact, everything that the Texas Ranchers are doing from a branding perspective just feels very on theme. I absolutely love what they're doing. If you like their merch as well, you can go ahead and use code Basil at checkout on their website. You can get a 15% discount. I'm not saying you got to go buy this sweatsuit, but this new windbreaker they just dropped is pretty sweet, and they've got some sick new paddles and performance gear you can check out as well. So that leaves the question, where are we going to put this logo in our tier list? Now, I want to put this in the S tier, but I don't know. I feel like I'm not allowed to do that maybe, so we're going to put this in the really good tier. This is an A logo. This is just very well done. The next team we will be ranking is the LA Mad Drops. The LA Mad Drops, we saw their old logo, had looked nothing like this. I want to show one cool thing they're doing too. Now, if you didn't know, Drew Brees is one of the co-owners of this team, so they've actually got a NOLA edition of some Mad Drops merch, which has the New Orleans Saints colors on it. I think that's pretty neat. Overall, I like this guy. I don't know what it is about him. He's just kind of got a cool vibe to him. He's wearing a headband. He's got the safety goggles on. Maybe they're sunglasses. Obviously, the drop is very much tied into pickleball. Third shot drop, fifth shot drop. Ironically, they have Kwang Duong on their team now, who will not be utilizing the drop at all this season. But still, I'm a big fan of this guy. He passes my vibe check. So we're going to go ahead and put this team in the really good tier, but behind the Ranchers. Another spin, and now we've got this St. Louis Shock. Now, obviously, with this logo, we are invoking the St. Louis Arch. The Gateway Arch, I believe, is what its proper name is. Here, we've also got a few different versions of the logo. They've got like this kind of hockey jersey version. They've also got this little circular emblem, which is on their Instagram handle. Here was their old logo. I do think they upgraded from that, definitely. You can see there is some lightning bolt imagery as well in the S of the Shock, so that is where that is kind of coming through. The Shock itself as a name does feel just maybe a little bit generic. It flows nicely though, the St. Louis Shock. The aspect ratio too is very horizontal on this logo, so it kind of makes it awkward to slide into certain places. But overall, I mean, I think it's a fine logo. I don't know, what do you think? Is it okay? Is it good? It's definitely somewhere in that range for me. I'm going to say this is an okay logo. All right, our 8th team, we're almost a third of the way done. We have the Orlando Squeeze, which, I mean, first of all, there's no suspense here. This is the S tier elite best of the best logo. I want to show y'all something too. Now remember, we were just talking about the St. Louis Shock, how they upgraded their logo. What you're seeing here is all of the Orlando Squeeze imagery, and Lil Squeezy right here, this guy, they came out day one. In the press release in which they were announced as a franchise, they dropped this guy on us. This is an organization that knows exactly what they are all about. All of their messaging, marketing, branding materials, their website is immaculate. Their merch is incredible. In fact, I'm actually wearing this shirt right here, right now. What else can you even say about this guy? Lil Squeezy. They even have a big inflatable version of Lil Squeezy. He's just adorable. He's cute. He's fun. I want to give him a hug. Love it. I just love it. All right, this one's going to be tough to follow. Let's see who is up next. We've done 8 teams. We have 14 more to go. And we've got the Columbus Sliders. This is a new look for them. They have actually recently rebranded. And I do think this rebrand is an upgrade. You'll see their old logo does have one of my little pet peeves, my no-nos, the cross paddle motif with the pickleball. They do invoke the White Castle castles in that, which of course is their, naming sponsorship partner. I think the name Sliders works because, again, White Castle also, you can slide in pickleball. You'll see people sliding into a counter. Also, Columbus, my dad's from Columbus, and when we would go and visit grandma and grandpa up there, I don't know, is it like an Ohio thing that they just really love White Castle? We would go to White Castle. Actually, I have a photo of me in middle school at a White Castle eating a crave case with my brothers. This apparently ties into the identity of the city at some level. Here we can see the pickleball is in motion, perhaps sliding. It is filling in the white space in the letter C. Also in this logo to the right, it is taking the place of the dot on the I. I think there's a name for the dot on the I, but I'm blanking on it right now. And honestly, even though maybe it is arguably a little bit lame to be so ingrained with a corporation as your mascot and identity, I don't know, I kind of like it. I'm going to go and say that this is a perfectly fine logo. It's better than okay though, and I'm going to say that this is a good logo, and in fact, I'm going to put it ahead of the California Black Bears. All right, here we've got the Bay Area Breakers, and man, this is a pretty logo. I like this one a lot. It's very bright. It's very vibrant. In fact, they've got a few different iterations of it. They've got kind of a see-through version they can put over different colors. Here, they've got a cool graphic of recently drafted Eric Roddy. I just love how it's like the waves are breaking, and you can see the pickleball in it. Also, breakers. What does that have to do with pickleball? Well, it invokes the Dream Breaker. I mean, I just think this works on a lot of different levels. I think it's a really good logo, but is it elite? I think it might be, but it feels weird putting it right next to Lil Squeezy because he really should stand alone, but I'm going to say this is an elite logo as well. It just works for me on a whole bunch of different levels. Another spin. This will be our 11th team. We have the recently rebranded Carolina Hogs. Now, this team has been through a whole bunch of different iterations. They originally were the Seattle Pioneers, which is kind of a fun name. Seattle is where the game started, in Bainbridge Island. Pioneers, pioneering the game. That really worked for me. I liked that a lot. The logo itself was a little bit boring, just, a paddle and a ball in the shape of a P. Maybe they could have done something to actually invoke the pioneer aspect, but we're not talking about that logo. They then relocated to Carolina. This is the Tom Dundon team. So they're in Carolina, makes sense. They're the Carolina Pickleball Club, which again, I think was boring, and their logo, it's just letters. Which brings them to the rebrand of the Carolina Hogs. Now, I looked this up, and apparently North Carolina has the third largest hog population or pig population in the United States. They are known for their pig farms. I think hogs and pig is like their whole barbecue scene they have going there. So I guess it works for this on that level. It's tied to the team. Is it tied to pickleball, though? Well, if you've ever watched mixed doubles, I think you might have to say, yeah, I think this one works for pickleball. Ben Johns, you could say he's a ball hog, I think. Overall, I think this top logo looks fine. What they used to announce it, however, is just a total disaster. You've just got like weird spacing on the outline of these letters. It looks like they kind of just shoehorned this extended logo onto some word art in like Microsoft Paint. They're going to get knocked for that and the branding overall thing, but I don't hate the rebrand and the logo itself. So I kind of think this one is okay, though it's on the lower end of okay for me. It could be good. Maybe it'll grow on me, but for now, I feel pretty safe putting it here. We are now halfway done, but we will keep moving. We have got the Florida Smash, and I don't like this logo at all. When we talk about logos that just feel kind of clip arty and generic, I mean, this is it. Smash, of course, you could easily tie into pickleball. Now, real quick, all they've done over the years to update this logo is just slight changes to the ball. They took it from green to orange, which, I mean, is an improvement. But overall, I don't know. I just don't really like this team's branding, and their logo is boring to me at all. It feels very generic. It's definitely not as bad as the New Jersey Fives. I'm going to say it's a bad logo. It's worse than DC's for sure, so we'll put it at the end of the bad tier. Halfway done, still spinning, we have got the Phoenix Flames. Now, the Phoenix Flames are another team that have just done a whole bunch of different things over the years. They were originally the AZ Drive. Let's take a quick look at all those. When they were the AZ Drive, they were definitely going to get docked points for plagiarism. I mean, come on, that A? No, you can't get away with that. Then they moved to just a really boring AZ with the flaming pickleball. I mean, the name Drive, I guess, worked because, you drive the ball in pickleball, but nothing they were doing with their branding really excited me at all, which brings us to the Phoenix Flames. Now, they've stuck with that pickleball on fire imagery, which, let's be real, that also might be a little bit in the overused category. We saw it on the Florida Smash. If we go over to the NPL, we see the Columbus Hot Shots are using a smiling pickleball with flames behind it. We also see the Austin Ignite are doing some version of that. But I guess somebody had to use that in MLP, so they're doing it. Then they have this Phoenix, which of course is their city. I think it's definitely better than whatever they were doing as the AZ Drive. I don't think it's bad. I think it's okay, right? I mean, this is an okay logo. Giving it another spin, we are moving on to the Nashville Chefs. Now, this is their new logo. They moved from the Frisco Pandas to the Nashville Chefs. And they originally came out with this guy in the bottom left here, which people, myself included, were pretty quick to say they weren't a fan of. It did feel a little AI generated, and I think a smiling pickleball, you got to be careful with that. I mean, talk about overdone images and motifs, like that is one of them for sure. The Nashville Chefs themselves, I guess maybe like hot chicken kind of works for Nashville. Also, they are owned or operated by the Kitchen. So Chefs, Kitchen, plus the Kitchen and Pickleball. I mean, I think it works. I think overall, I like the name Chefs for a team. And here's their new updated logo. To me, it feels like this guy is kind of like looking down on you. And maybe he's about to just like completely execute you. I'm not sure, but I think I like this better than what they originally came out with. I might need more time to sit with this one, but I'm going to say this one is an okay logo. We'll put it here for now. I'm kind of overloading this okay tier. Maybe I need to bump some teams around. And here we've got the Atlanta Bouncers. The Atlanta Bouncers were originally partnered with Michelob Ultra, but I think now that's switching to Stella Artois. So they are invoking bouncers, which has to do with, I guess, a bar, balls bounce. Yeah, I mean, that works. They've also got the peach imagery inside the logo for the state of Georgia. You can see there's a peach, that's a pickleball. I think maybe they could do some more detailing on the paddle, maybe just a little something, perhaps a missed opportunity there. But overall, I kind of like the whole vibe of this team. They also have this kind of alternate logo with the talon grabbing the peach pickleball. Overall, this one works for me. I mean, I think it could be improved. I think it could be really good, but I'm going to say it's good, but at the back end of that good tier. All right, moving on to the Las Vegas Night Owls, which is another interesting one. It's got obviously the V in the shape of Vegas with the owl. Night Owls definitely works for Vegas. I mean, anytime I've been in Vegas, I stayed up very late. Doesn't have anything to do with pickleball that I can think of immediately, but you don't have to do that. This one is just very clean. It works. I'm going to put this one in the good tier as well. Now, I'm realizing I left the New York Hustlers off the wheel, so I guess we'll just do them last. We're going to give it another spin. We've got 6 teams to go, and we've got the SoCal Hard Eights. Now, one thing is for sure, when you look at what their logo used to be when they first joined the league, I mean, what an incredible glow-up this has had. However, I'm not sure, is this current logo the best iteration of the logo? I mean, the dice were so small in that one on the bottom down there on the left. And something about this blue outline overall, I don't know if it's really working for me. But if you talk about the overall imagery, I just think it's a cool concept to have the dice be the paddles, and Hard Eights, I guess, is what the owner, Tim Parks, always would bet on when he would play craps in Vegas. So I just think it's kind of a fun team name. It is weird when the 5s play the 8s, though. I feel like I'm going to have to do a math pop quiz. I'm going to say this is another good logo. Coming down the home stretch, we've got the Miami Pickleball Club. Now let's take a quick look at a few things on this slide. The first thing I want to say is I know I said I'm not a fan of the whole Pickleball Club as your team name, but I feel like that kind of works for Miami. When you think of Miami, you kind of think of like clubs. So Miami Club, I feel like it works. They're also just really doing a great job being very consistent with all of their branding. I think they have some cool merch. They've got this hot pink logo. You can see the flamingo there, some of their social media posts. Overall, the logo with the seal, I just think it's very cool looking. It feels very Miami to me. Again, maybe I'm not like a badge guy. I don't know if I really like the badges. I wasn't a big fan of the DC logo and this whole circular Florida Smash thing. I want to almost say this one's really good just because of everything else they're doing, but I don't know. I'm gonna keep this one in the good tier as well, but on the very front end of the good tier. Now we have got the Brooklyn Aces. We'll take a good look here. Here we've got the Brooklyn Bridge. I mean, I'm assuming that's the Brooklyn Bridge. I've been to New York like twice, so if that's not the Brooklyn Bridge, I mean, it has to be. It's the Brooklyn Bridge. Aces themselves, I guess in pickleball, you don't really ace that much, but it still evokes tennis and paddle sports. So yeah, okay, it's a fine name. They did add these little lotto bands, which is their sponsor, which I think kind of makes it, a little busy and takes away from it overall. I think it would maybe be a good logo, but with those, just going to take it down to okay. I do love bridges, though. I do love a good bridge. I'm going to say this one goes right here in the okay tier. And now we've got just one more spin, the Chicago Slice. And man, I mean, you can see I got him on my hat. I'm a big fan of what this guy is doing. It makes me hungry every time I see him. I'm not even a big Chicago-style pizza fan. Maybe I should dock some points for that, but it's just so clearly ingrained with their geographic location, the pizza, also Slice with pickleball. I mean, it just works on several different levels. I'm a big fan of that. And taking a closer look at some of the branding, they've also got this cool thing when they do this like blue version of him on their jerseys. Makes me think of frozen pizza. Here we've got an image of Jack Monroe standing in some deep dish pizza with his white sneakers. Overall, this is A+ work, and we're going to have a third entry in the elite tier. And this brings us, of course, to the Dallas Flash, who once again are my rivals, and I do hate them very much. And as much as I want to put them in the terrible tier, I'm tempted to say this is a really good logo, but there are a few things we do have to talk about. First of all, with their logo they were using for the most part of last year, I mean, we've got to address the Tampa Bay Lightning plagiarism allegations. I mean, the colors are similar, the lightning bolt. Now that said, I do think what they've done to update their logo over here on the right is definitely more pickleball related and getting further away from that territory. I also do like this look with the gold accent on the ball. I mean, I guess if you win the title, yeah, you can put some gold in your logo. Fine, fine. Here we've got Tyra making this championship shirt looking pretty good. And we've got the Flick Wizard, of course. So as a whole, Flash, I mean, I guess it just invokes like general sports athleticism. Nothing really to do with Dallas that I can think of, or pickleball for that matter. It is kind of generic. So for these reasons, I'm going to keep them in the good tier and keep them out of really good. And that brings us to our final logo, which is the New York Hustlers. And this logo just doesn't really do all that much for me. I'm just not really a fan of how they're running their franchise too. By the way, they sold all their players for money, spent the bare minimum in the auction. I mean, I guess it's an okay logo though. I just doesn't really work for me. That will do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you disagree with anything that I've done, go ahead and leave a comment. And if you want to make your own tier list, I've got a link to this template in the description. So with that, thanks for tuning in. Be on the lookout for episode 2 of the Pickleball Power Rankings podcast with Zane, Eric Tice, Caitlin Kerr, and myself. We'll be ranking all of the MLP individual lineups. And if you missed episode 1, that is over on Zane's channel. Be sure to check that out. As far as my plans for this channel going forward, I plan to do a recap of every single MLP event with plenty of charts, just like we did last year. Also, I'm probably just going to cover the slams for PPA and APP when those happen. With that, I'm signing off. Please like and subscribe if you're into that sort of thing, and thank you.